You're free, for God has bought your liberty.
One God, one aim, one destiny. W.E.B. Dubois is the most brazen fellow that one knows in Negro leadership. Because of the unfortunate mental condition of the masses of Negroes, this man has been able to use and mislead the American Negro through the use of his white education to mislead the masses of Negroes in America.
After the Egyptian, the Indian, the Greek, the Roman, the Teuton, the Mongolian, the Negro is sort of a seventh son, born with a veil and gifted with the second sight in this American world. A world which yields him no true self-consciousness, but only lets him see himself through the eyes of the other world.
The American Negro, since emancipation, have been looking for honest and upright leadership to point them the way of political, social, economic, and general development. Du Bois offered himself immediately after he left Harvard, and initially the people were glad to receive him, but jealous, as he was of every other Negro leader, his first effort was to attack the honest, upright, and useful leader, Booker T. Washington. Du Bois took great pride and pleasure, not only in attacking Mr. Washington, but has attacked and tries to discredit any other Negro leader who has sprung up in America.
The opposition to Negro education in the South was at first bitter. It met itself with insult, ashes, and then blood. For the South believed an educated Negro to be a dangerous Negro. And the South was not wholly wrong. For education amongst all types of men always has had and always will have an element of revolution, dissatisfaction, discontent. Nevertheless, men do strive to know. This double consciousness that the Americans have instilled in the black man has a Negro thinking two thoughts, two souls, two unreconciled strivings, two warring ideals in one dark body, whose dogged strength alone keeps it from being torn asunder. The history of the American Negro.
The history
of the American Negro.
The history of the struggle of the American Negro upward will show that W.E.B. Du Bois was the greatest enemy, the greatest industrial, commercial, political, and economic movement ever created in the United States, the Universal Negro Improvement Association.
The history of the American Negro is the history of this struggle. This striving to attain a self-conscious manhood, to merge his double self into a better, truer self. In this merging, he doesn't wish to lose his past selves. He would not bleach his Negro soul in a flood of white Americanism because he knows that Negro blood has a message for the world. He simply wishes to make it possible for a Negro to be both American and black without being cursed and spit upon by his fellows, without having the doors of opportunity closed roughly in his face. This, then, is the end of his striving to be a co-worker in the kingdom of culture, to husband and use his best strengths and latent genius. Now you see, these strengths in the past have been forgotten or dispelled. We hear about the shadow of Ethiopia and Egypt, the Sphinx. Throughout history, single black men have flashed here and there, like falling stars, and died before the world has rightly gauged their brightness.
Du Bois has, through deception and intrigue, succeeded in having me framed up, imprisoned, and deported from the United States. After he succeeded in killing our movement and having the field almost entirely to himself, he kept the race without a program. He never intended to have any. And his profession of leadership ever since he left Harvard shows that his sole purpose was to deceive the American Negro and to satisfy his white patrons who had the scheme to suppress any independent development of the race.
Here, in America, in the few days since emancipation, the black man has been turning hither and thither and hesitant and doubtful striving. The black man has had the most struggle on this land. As he turned hither and thither, as he paced back and forth, he wished